Rukmini felt exhausted, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Normally, she worked non-stop for 12 to 13 hours every day and yet remained cheerful and energetic all along. She knew that if she displayed tiredness or anxiety, then her team will be affected adversely. Along with Kaveri, she would welcome constituents from 8 a.m. and hear out their problems, suggest solutions, at times admonish them, at other times offer help. But today Rukmini didn't feel like working or meeting anyone. On their way back home from Amjad's farmhouse, both the ladies did not utter a single word. Rukmini wanted to burst out in tears. Perhaps for the first time she had no idea what to do. She didn't know whom to call or whom to consult. Kaveri had found out a few top-notch lawyers in Delhi who were ready to take the case for a large amount of money. But it was not money that was at stake. Rukmini's ideals, her principles for which she had fought so many battles, they were at stake. She felt defeated. Her relentless campaign for safety, security, empowerment, and equal opportunities for women would come to a resounding halt because her own son would be branded as a rapist. Rukmini had single-handedly brought up her 3 children after her husband Tej Singh was shot in an ugly brawl. Shiva was 6 and Rohini and Tejaswini were just 4 and 1 respectively. Almost everyone had written off Rukmini then. Tej Singh had left behind a few cows and buffaloes and a legacy of violence and revenge. Rukmini was determined that her children shouldn't inherit such a legacy. She began a new life in a makeshift hut where she would sell milk and do odd jobs for a wealthy family in a nearby farmhouse. Rukmini was very good at making pickles, pappers, and spices. The farmhouse owner was impressed and encouraged her to take it up as a profession. That is how Tej Pickles and Spices was born. Rukmini began to employ women from the nearby villages and slowly set up a large unit. Rukmini soon discovered that each woman who came to work had a story to narrate of abuse, of violence, of victimization by patriarchy and curtailed freedom. Rukmini became a champion for the cause of women empowerment. She counseled her women workers to send their children to school. She pressurized the sarpanch to open a separate school for girls. The villagers began to fear her a little because Rukmini always stood by what was right. When Jinal, a young girl in the 10th standard, approached Rukmini for employment, the latter was surprised. Rukmini never employed anyone who was under 18. She would scare the daylights out of any family who did not send their daughters to school or who tried to marry them off before they turned 18. But Jinal made it clear that she wanted to earn so that she could study in a college in the city. Rukmini was impressed by Jinal's grit and determination, so she was employed to write accounts. One night, however, Jinal left quite late from the factory. Unfortunately, 3 men raped her brutally and later murdered her. When Rukmini fought to provide justice to Jinal, she grabbed headlines locally and nationally. The media, reporters, lawyers, and the public made a beeline to witness the court proceedings. The widespread attention on the case compelled the police to nab the accused within a week. They were finally convicted after a hard-fought legal battle for 3 years. Rukmini knew she was not only fighting for Jinal, but for thousands of other girls in the villages of India who were raped and sexually abused, but who never got justice because of an unjust patriarchal structure, the slow-moving wheels of the judiciary, and most importantly, lack of media and public attention. When the verdict was declared, Rukmini was approached by the president of a regional party. They wanted Rukmini to contest the state assembly elections. The party knew about Rukmini's efforts to get a school for girls, her fight to make them economically independent, and her persistent struggle to speak up against the dominant patriarchal structure that still propagated that a woman's place is within the four walls of the house. Rukmini's agreeing to contest sent shivers in the opposite party's camp. Unable to find a worthy opponent who could counter Rukmini, they began to brand Rukmini as influenced by Western ideology, anti-national, a disbeliever in the country's glorious culture, and as someone who disrespected God's wishes. Quoting false examples from the so-called religious texts, they propagated a narrative of how women's liberation was contrary to the diktat given by the seers and saints of yesteryears. A gender that had begun to feel the pressure of being challenged and proved wrong had to resort to ignoble tactics to defeat a woman. Rukmini, on the other hand, campaigned for education and employment for women, and above all, their safety and security. But today, while campaigning in a village, Kaveri took Rukmini aside. Hesitatingly, Kaveri told her about the involvement of Shiva and his friends in a gang rape. Rukmini was so stunned that her entire body and mind went numb. It was a hot afternoon, and Rukmini felt as if her parched throat had got stuck, disabling her to speak. She flopped down on a charpoy. Campaign fatigue was what everyone said about her condition. Shiva's phone was switched off, and his whereabouts were not known. For 2 hours, Rukmini and Kaveri tried to search for him, but they couldn't trace him. Their biggest fear was the press getting to know about the incident. Rukmini wasn't bothered about losing the elections, but she would become the laughing stock as someone who just gave lip service to fighting for women's cause. She understood that media will burn them, the party will cancel her nomination, and Tej Pickles and Spices will face closure. But Rukmini was more hurt about what Shiva had done than worry about what will happen to him. In a moment of uncontrolled libido, Shiva had upturned everything that Rukmini had stood up for all her life. Her belief in equality of the genders, in bringing up sons with compassion and sensitivity, and in teaching them the real meaning of masculinity had all fallen flat. Only Kaveri could sense the intense battle behind Rukmini's straight face. At 5 p.m., Amjad called up. Shiva is here, Mai, at my farmhouse. He hasn't done anything, Mai, but he's very scared. आप बस जल्दी से यहाँ आ जाओ, Mai, please. Rukmini's fury was uncontrollable when she saw Shiva, and she slapped him and kicked him with her chappals. It took the collective strength of Amjad and Kaveri to stop her. Mai, I know you're very angry at Shiva, but believe me, वो इसमें शामिल नहीं है. He was just camping in the forest with his friends. Yes, he did bring alcohol with them. That's his mistake. But then he went off to sleep in the guest house. It was only when the girl began to scream that Shiva woke up. When he rushed there, he saw this horrendous scene, Mai. Shiva got very scared. So he just picked up the jeep and drove here straight down. उसके बाद I called up Kaveri Didi. Amjad, don't talk like a child. A witness to such a heinous crime is as much a culprit as the perpetrators. And Then why didn't he try to help that girl? उसको वहीं छोड़ दिया with those beasts? अरे won't the police find his stuff in that guest house? Won't his cell phone get tracked at that location? I never went to school, Amjad, but this fool has. I warned him multiple times not to keep the company of those rascals. Now pay the price. Rukmini almost collapsed on the large divan. She was not concerned about what will happen to her election. But yes, she did wonder where and how was that little girl who was raped by Shiva's friends. Rukmini toyed with the idea of going to the guest house in the Polo Forest and take that girl to the hospital. Or better, she should drive down to the party president's house, submit her resignation and withdraw her nomination. Or should she call up the lawyer whose number Kaveri had searched for? Rukmini woke up with a start at 4 a.m. Kaveri was gently shaking her. When Rukmini reached the police station, it was overflowing with high-ranked officers and media vans. But before the reporters could see Rukmini, the DSP took her to a private cell at the back. Shiva was sitting in one corner. He seemed to have aged in just one night. Pale-faced with red eyes, Shiva folded his handcuffed hands in Namaste. I know you are very angry at me. I know how hard you have worked all your life for justice, for truth, for the right things. I have been a witness to every battle that you have fought. I know that you are contesting this election only because you want to bring a change in the lives of women. I can't let you lose because of an idiot like me. I did not rape that girl, but then I should have helped her. I should have rescued her. This is what you have always taught us all our lives. Fight for what is right. And like a coward, I ran away from there. I cannot let you become the laughing stock, the butt of jokes, jibes and taunts. That is why I surrendered I told them everything, gave them all the names, phone numbers, addresses, everything. I don't care what happens to me, but I'm very satisfied and happy that I have done the right thing, the honest thing. DSP Saab told me that they have caught Kunal and Asim. And that girl is fortunately alive. The doctors think that she will survive. Now you go, get some rest. You have to hit the campaign again tomorrow. Don't worry about me, I hold my head high because I've done the right thing. And